What if I told you that being comfortable was the most harmful thing that you could do to your brain and to your body? Hi everyone, I'm Savanna and this is Mental Mondays with Savanna, a motivating, mental cleansing, and energy boosting podcast. I focus on how one can improve their mental health while helping you build a better mindset, better habits, and a better life for yourself. I'm a 15-year-old CEO, a passionate storyteller, and an optimistic dreamer who views the world through a different set of lenses. I came on here to share that unique view with you. My biggest hope is that my videos ignite a spark in you to seek your highest potential and so that you can live a life without limits. Let's dive into it. Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of my podcast. My name is Savanna and today we are kicking off with the dangers of staying in your comfort zone and how you're missing out on too much by playing safe. But before we start, I'm asking you to please subscribe to my channel wherever you're listening to, whether it's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. And please leave a rating below as it really helps get these inspirational messages out to other people. Now let's get into it. There's a powerful saying that once said, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Have you ever really stopped to think about what this meant though? Let's break it down. If you were to look at the sentence, it's simply saying that the only way that we can move forward and live a fulfilling life is by challenging ourselves to push beyond the limits that have been set for us. But let me just say that it's much easier to remain within the boundaries of where you feel comfortable than it is to face the fear of venturing beyond them. Human beings, we often limit ourselves because when we're in our comfort zones, our brain doesn't really want to change anything. Our needs are met, we have zero stress, and our brains recognizes that the body is surviving. So that should simply be enough. Our brains especially do not like change. It already requires so much energy for day-to-day activities that your brain doesn't really want to give extra resources to the attention that is required to do these new things. According to experts, part of the brain, amygdala, interprets change as a threat and releases the hormones for fear, flight, or the fight response. So your body is actually protecting you from change because it interprets it as a scary, big, harmful aspect, when really sometimes it actually helps our character develop and to grow. Now, fear is actually a very scary thing, but it's a necessary part of growth. But sometimes our brain doesn't know how to distinguish between the change that will help you grow and improve as a person versus the change that will negatively affect you. So what it does is that it tries to get you to do what you've always done by staying inside your comfort zone. Because of these natural tendency, your brain craves the same routine over and over and over again. But by doing the same song or by the same dance every day of your life, it does not lead to growth. Imagine you were to eat the same lunch for the past 20 years, ordering the same sandwich request with the same orange juice on the side, because you're afraid of trying a new meal like tomato soup or apple juice on the side instead. It may sound like a really exaggerated example, but imagine not trying to do something because you're afraid about how the experience will feel like. This is what we tend to do every time we're faced with new challenges where we could actually learn and grow from them. So when you limit yourself because of that fear, you miss out on different pathways for personal growth, including professional opportunities, life experiences, and personal growth just altogether. I think that getting out of your comfort zone is always really hard because humans are wired to expect the worst case scenario. Your brain just wants to keep you safe, so you have a natural bias towards negative reactions. And I felt this all the time. One recent example is that I was actually afraid to start this podcast because I was afraid of what others might think, and like immediately my brain went to the worst possible scenario and the worst possible thing that could happen. And I started thinking, what if people write negative reviews on my podcast? Or what if my friends think I'm weird for making my own podcast and not being normal like everyone else? Or what, in the worst of all, what if everyone rejects my podcast and tells me that these are just a waste of my time, it's boring, and that I shouldn't do them? And I know it sounds irrational now that I am talking them out loud, and it sounds ridiculous. But guess what? Most of the time, our fears are irrational and exaggerated like these. Breaking yourself out of the confines of your comfort zone and pushing yourself to take risks and enjoy these new experiences will pave the way for improved life and just a better rewarding life, because you get to experience all these different experiences you couldn't experience when you were in your comfort zone. Life outside your comfort zone is full with amazing opportunities to reach new heights and even achieve your biggest goals. I kind of see comfort zones as like a safety net, and they're like little bubbles where we cocoon ourselves in so we don't get hurt, we don't get stressed, or we don't get scared. And our comfort zones are usually made from our usual routines and the things that are most predictable in our everyday lives. But by sticking to these routines, it holds you back from your fullest and your greatest potential. And it's important to often push your boundaries and step outside your comfort zone to challenge yourself and to help grow. You know, there's a world of opportunities that are just waiting for you outside the comfort of our little bubbles. And it's only when we challenge ourselves to overcome discomfort and fear and step outside our comfort zones do we become our true and authentic selves. The analogy that I really bring this to is like a little caterpillar that's stuck in this cocoon and it's just so afraid of all the things that are out there in the world, so it just decides, I'm gonna stay in my cocoon because I don't want to have to deal with the stress. I don't want to have to deal with all these different change because I'm scared of change and I don't know what it will bring about with me. So it decides to play safe. Is it the safest route? Yes, it is. But is it the most fulfilling? No, most certainly not. You see, what that little caterpillar doesn't know is that once it transforms and leaves its safety net, leaves its cocoon, it becomes into the most beautiful butterfly and it's ready to take on new heights, ready to do new things that it couldn't have done when it was trapped as a caterpillar. And in a way, this caterpillar is all of us. It's all of our thoughts. It's all of our fear and our anxieties that are talking to us, saying, am I really do I really want to know what's out there? No, I don't. But in reality, there are new experiences out there, new opportunities, new people that are just waiting for you. Because once you step over those boundaries that you've set for yourself, you discover a whole new world. Even if it seems like you've looked at it like 20 million different times, I promise you that there's something underneath that if you're willing to step your boundaries and if you're willing to take that risk. So enough with hiding in your comfort zone. It's time to get uncomfortable. It's time to push yourself, to face your fears head on and wave goodbye to your comfort zone for good. So the first tip that I have for you guys is to do one thing that pushes you outside of your comfort zone and scares you every day. Dare to take imperfect actions. Now, a wise person once said that freedom lies within being bold. Too often, we hold back on taking risks because we're not 100% sure that it's the right action to take. We tell ourselves it's smarter and safer to stick with the status quo. We tell ourselves that now just isn't the right time, that we need more information or more money or even more confidence to address a problem or pursue a goal, so we wait for later to address it. We focus far more on what we have to lose than what we might have gained from the experience. But if we're willing to risk an imperfect decision and take imperfect actions, it will almost always be more beneficial than doing nothing at all. You see, trying new things is a simple yet effective way to face these fears. Whether it's a new project at work, or joining a new gym, or simply making a conscious effort to say yes more often, you'll leave the cozy comfort of your everyday routine behind and dive headfirst into life, beyond your comfort zone where you can live out your full potential. But that brings me to my tip number 2, and that's to take baby steps. Now, you see, although let's say you're really excited and you really want to you're so inspired by my teachings and you're like, okay, I have to go full out. That's not the case. And I don't want you guys to do that. Because if you try it that way, you will be totally overwhelmed and you will want to rush back into your comfort zone. Fully abandoning your regular routines and completely clearing your schedule can be daunting and very intimidating. So I advise that you don't bite off more than you can chew when first breaking out of your comfort zone. Instead, take it slow but steady. If you were to train for a marathon, you wouldn't start training with 26 miles at first. Heck, you wouldn't even be motivated after that. You'll be like, nah, I'm not fit for this. I don't want to try it anymore. Instead, you would take small steps, maybe 1 mile this week. I'd run a mile every single day for this week, and then I'd increase it to 3 miles every day, and so on and so forth. I think that using this method and incorporating these small things into your everyday life will help you to go beyond your comfort zone and to push you to try new things. For example, if you've never ventured into the arts, push yourself to try an art or a music class that you've never touched before. I actually remember doing drama this year, and I've never been in any art related or drama related fields. So this year it really allowed me to venture out of my comfort zone and express my ways and express myself in ways I never thought I could before. And sometimes I gotta tell you, in this class, I will completely embarrass myself. But after a while, it just became like natural to me. And I was like, oh yeah, I just embarrassed myself, but I didn't really think much of it because I always go out of my comfort zone to do these things. And I remember just the other day, I had to act like a crazy monkey that escaped the zoo for this one scene that we were shooting in a movie. And it was hilarious. And I just brushed it off because at this point, I was just getting used to being uncomfortable. And sometimes it's hilarious. Sometimes we'll have these moo-offs. Yes, you heard me right, moo-offs, where two random people would moo like a cow and see who can do it the longest. And it sounds ridiculous, but this class really helped me to break out of my general habits, my boring habits, and pick up skills that I didn't know I had in me. I really enjoyed taking the class because it pushed me outside of my boundaries and it helped me to grow further and to grow my character. And this leads me to my last and final point. Stop making excuses for yourself. Stop saying, oh, I can't do this because I just don't have enough time right now. In reality, we all know that you have all the time in the world. Instead, be honest with yourself and say, I'm afraid to do this. Confrontation is the first step to this. And after you confront what your fears, then it's easier to take it head on. So stop making excuses and just be honest. You will be in a better place to confront what is truly bothering you, and this will increase your chance to move forward. Okay, now let's say that you just decide to go for it. You push yourself outside of your comfort zone and you completed a task. But let's say that one bad outcome, like, the worst possible scenario happens, and it just happens. And this actually is related to our last episode, so about failures and imperfections. So if you haven't watched it, go ahead and check it out. But it really relates to how people are afraid of messing up and failing in the process. So let's say you just made a blunder out of yourself, you just failed, and the worst possible scenario happened. But remember, failure is not the opposite of success, but is rather a part of success. Treat failure as your teacher because it allows us to learn from that moment on and to build our character. Ask yourself these questions. What did you learn from that experience? And how can you take that lesson to your next adventure to increase your chance of success? It is quote of the day time. This quote is from Anonymous, and it's really powerful, so let me read it. Step so far out of your comfort zone that you forgot how to get back. End quote. So I hope from this episode you learned that it is only when you step outside of your comfort zone that you will be able to challenge yourself to try new things and to improve your life. And remember that some of the best life experiences happen when you're uncomfortable. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Adopt this mindset by 1, doing one thing that pushes you outside of your comfort zone and that scares you. Daring to take imperfect actions. 2, to take baby steps. And 3, stop making excuses for yourself. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. You just listened to Mental Mondays with Savanna. Make sure you click the subscribe button to receive more positivity every Monday and join the fam. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next week.